Yo, what is up guys, Emmy hitting up with a new season video. Today we talk about Veronica. Some of you really wanted to see a Vero guide, so here we are. But before we jump into the build, quick thing in eigener Sache, 80% of you guys are actually not subscribed to the channel. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Now let's talk about her cards real quick, because there are a couple you want to use, and there is not really a wrong build when it comes to Veronica. She's a very flexible unit overall, and it really comes down to what you prefer overall in terms of how you want to build her and what type of scenario you want to use her. So when it comes to her firing preparation, which is her key ability, there are 3 options you can aim for in generally. It's either the giant ballista, which does 122% extra attack damage to all enemies. It's an AoE damage, which probably a lot of you like the most right now in this game. Well, it is very powerful if you encounter multiple enemies, obviously, but there are also 2 other options you want to aim for. If you are aiming for a more bossing type build, you have either the option between shelling ballista at the end of the turn, 61% times 2 extra attack damage to random enemies. That is decent. And as well, what I personally really like is the piercing ballista at the end of the turn, 153% piercing damage to a random enemy if the target has shield plus 50% damage, because this kind of ignores the shield of your opponents. Very strong. Those are the 2 I personally recommend. Giant ballista and piercing ballista is what I like. I know that some people also like shelling ballista, but those are, if you have a lot of mobs, go for the giant one for the AoE. If you have like a bossing content, then you want to go with the piercing one. When it comes to repos, you actually have 2 choices. You either go with the middle one, which gives you a shield, and you can draw 2 cards from other combatants, and then the cost from those cards are reduced by 1, which is really good. Or you go for the 0 mana, draw 2 other combatant cards. So you can go either or, depending on what you're trying to aim for. Like, I personally prefer the 0 mana cost card, just because 0 mana you can, like, it's basically 0 mana, draw 2, and you can kind of target what you're drawing. Okay, on the other hand, if you can get maybe the repos one for 1 mana, which reduces the cost, if you can get a divine epiphany on it, which makes it a 0 mana version of that, then 100% go for that one, because that's probably then the most powerful version. I just like having card draw without me costing it literally anything. Very powerful card, especially also if you can duplicate it. Solid option. Then we also have the pendant of the resolution. There you really cannot go wrong with anything. I don't know if there's any card that specifically stands out to me. This is something you can decide for yourself, what you personally like the most, what you want to aim for. Like the retrieve one is, for example, good, where you can just keep reloading. If you plan, like, for example, a big nuking turn, for example, or the upgrade card, when another combatant uses a skill card, 1 reload, 50% chance to gain additional 1 reload. Also good. It's an upgrade card, and every time you throw a skill card out, you can reload, so this helps out. Also the micro ballista as well. That is something that you can decide for yourself what you want to do. You cannot really go with anything. That's just something with personal preference. Then we got the Sir Kowalski. Also, I think one of the more flexible cards she has. For example, the middle one has also got draw 2 when drawing a skill card, create ballista. I think potentially that this one, in my opinion, is the strongest one. The other ones increases the damage of the ballista. You can choose a ballista in your hand, increase the damage of it, then draw 2. But I feel like the middle one is good, because oftentimes with your deck building, you do have a lot of skill cards, or you should usually have a lot of skill cards in your deck. So there should be a high chance of drawing one, and then you can just create an additional ballista. I think this is very potent overall. And then last but not least, you have the bombardment prep, which gives you an additional reload, which is a unique card. And with ego changes and stuff like that, she also gets more reload. When it comes to our ideal partner, you want to use her signature 5-star card, but if you don't have that one, the same as I don't have it right now, you want to go for MaTeIRiA instead, which gives you assigned combatant extra attack damage is increased by 20% if you have it level 4. When the assigned combatant uses an upgrade, 50% chance to gain moral for 1 turn, which is huge because she does a lot of upgrading. She uses a lot of upgrade cards overall and stuff like that. So this way you can actually boost the damage of one of your main DPS units in your build. And the ego skill, with which costs only 2 mana, you can draw one of your enhanced cards, and if you don't have any enhanced cards, it's just basically a draw one card. Okay, so overall very solid card you can use on her without any issues. Now when it comes to her potentials, really, there's nothing really much to say about it. For a basic card here, for the potential, she adds a additional effect that you have a 20% chance to create a random ballista, which can be useful from time to time, because if you don't rip off the card or something, you throw those, at least there's a way for you to generate more ballista cards if you need it. And then there's the basic card, which I don't think does really anything. I would just avoid this one. They usually don't do that much because she's not a basic card unit, so you want to look more into her unique stats, and when her attack is higher than 700, then plus 5% ballista shot damage, and for every 40 attack exceeding that value, plus 1%, so you can get in total 15% extra ballista shot damage, but also like nothing too mind-blowing overall when it comes to that. And then for her build, there's like two ways you can build her. Either you have her on the Spark of Passion, on a crit rate, passion damage, attack build, or you have her on a crit chance attack build. I think they're either counted as neutral or as basic cards because they do have white text, but since they are generated cards, very similar to, for example, Luke in my guide, I think you have to upgrade neutral for her to increase her damage output. Don't nail me on that one right now. We also have to talk about the ego. I think the only ego that is worth mentioning for her, and that does change a little bit in terms of her kits, if you have her, is her E2, because the E2 does give her a fluorescent, and that increases the damage taken from ballista by 20% from the opponents. But really what it is before you have that and you use, for example, giant ballista where you have an AoE, it doesn't really matter. But if you have like single target, like a piercing ballista or something like that, what happens is once you use, for example, one of your DPS unit target someone, then there will be a debuff icon on that opponent, and Veronica will always target that opponent with the debuff on them with their ballistas. So very strong ability if you have it. When you're running giant ballista on her, then it doesn't matter in the first place. When it comes to the save data, as I just said, you can do so many different things with her. Like you can do so many different things with her. It really doesn't matter too much. I think one of the weapon one where you want to have the extra attack damage that increases the damage by 30%. Overall, you can do many different ways. You can use her as like a card drawer with the repos. You can just duplicate repos and get a lot of stuff. Like it really depends on how you want to play her. There's no wrong way to play her, but you do want to keep her deck concise. Now when it comes to her team compositions, you can do a lot of different things with her, a lot of different things, because she's so versatile as like a sub DPS. You can throw in almost also every single team and it works. But I really just wanted to show you something outside of the box. Like usually you would want to use Mei, Veronica, then you can use Mika, which works. You can also use Ray, which works. But you know what? You can also, one of the strongest combinations is Mei, Veronica, and Kali. But this time, since you also saw the Haru last guide, I want to bring her back for this one and show you how you can combo this, for example, where you use Haru, Veronica, and Kali together, where you have 3 different elements. And also, if you do the zero system runs and you choose, for example, the blue world is weak to blue and red, so it's a good combination. And then you have the shielding, so this is what I want to show you. Now here we are, and the cool thing about it is you have always the ballista card in hand. Here I have the giant ballista, which also gives a moral buff and a result buff because it has the divine version of it. And now you can really do whatever you feel like doing right now. I could either pull out the rally now to generate 1 silver veil card, get out the, what is it called again, the vulture card from deck here. Or I can also just use, for example, the ballista card here right now. So the way I want to do it for the time being is I actually want to use rally, because that one also gives me shield, gives me silver stacks, pulls me out the card. And here I want to use the rapid fire card here, and maybe I can generate an additional ballista card. No, I cannot, but it's fine. And since I cannot do anything right now, I just end my turn here, and boom, you see there is damage coming from the giant ballista, from the Veronica. Now where it becomes also very interesting with Veronica is when you can actually reload, because the reload stacks increase her ballista damage here. And then let's use the quick shelling, because that is card draw. And now I can really decide what I want to do. I could like either throw out the power charge, or I could do For example, the 2 mana card Upward Slash, which I want to do because it does trigger the Vulture right now. And here we're doing damage. And now with that out of the way, I can use the Absolute Protection. Give me a little bit of shield. This will end my turn, but it also will trigger the Giant Ballista, and we are dealing some damage with Veronica here. And then what the cool thing is about her really, that you can just activate all her card thrower out, and then you only use her card generators later down the line. For example, if I don't feel like this is my best hand or something, I could just go and draw, but I don't want this guy to move. So I'm gonna activate the Overpower right now, push him back. Now I wanna activate the Repose. Let me draw some cards. Okay, cool. Now I got the Anchor Pointer, and now I wanna buff my Anchor Shot for my horror here. And now I can decide to attack one of these units. Boom, kill him off. Did get something back. And then here I'm gonna use my Power Charge and almost finish off that unit. And no, actually, you know what? This is where Veronica comes in. This is very, very cool. We have 14 cards in deck. Let's draw 2 cards. If we can get a skill card, then we can, yeah. So here we are. We got a skill card. Now we were able to generate another card. Very, very strong. Now we have Piercing Ballista as well. And now what do I want to do is I want to activate the Overpower. Let me generate a shield, stuff like that. Get that. Then let's draw 2 more cards, right? Whatever we end up with. And now we use the Anchor Pointer, get the Anchor Shot, and then boom, hit that boy. Get the Anchor Shot back because that's how my build rolls for her. Then I can roll another one. And then I could either use Absolute Protection right now just to keep the cards, or I could do whatever. But let me just throw out that one. I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter too much. And then here you see the damage that comes out. The Giant Ballista here. And now let's just throw out a couple of cards here. So we can use, for example, the Great Sword. Boom, deal a little bit of damage. Trigger the Vulture. And if that is not enough and it does not kill, then it wouldn't matter. Because once we end our turn, the Giant Ballista would hit the opponent. But what you can see overall here is, in my opinion, that you actually have a lot of card draw and damage potential as sub DPS with Veronica in your team. Well, this sums up the Veronica guide, and as always, guys, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and see you with the next one. Deuces.